Hey everyone, it's Christy with Cottage Grove Quilt Company. I'm coming to you today from my mama's kitchen, just a little ways away from me, and I want to introduce you all to my mother, Helen. Say hello, Helen.
Hello, everyone.
She is going to be making for you all a pie crust today. Now I'm telling you, she should be on the Great British Baking Show because I want to meet Mr. Blue Eyes, okay? But she is a phenomenal baker and her pie crusts are by far the best. So you're in for a treat. All right.
Okay, first of all, I want to tell you this is something that you should not be afraid of. It's simple, easy, and it's probably one of America's most loved desserts is pie. So I'm going to show you in a few simple steps how to make a wonderful pie crust. But first, I'm going to turn my oven on at 425. Now I have here 1 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour, and I do use a food processor. It's just simple, easier to do, but you can do this by hand by using a fork, and it works that just as well. Just takes a little bit longer. And I have 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I will mix these two ingredients up just real quick, just to get them incorporated. Now I have here 1/4 cup of Crisco. I only use Crisco in my pies. I haven't tried the other brands. They may work, but I always try to stay with this one brand because I know it's good. And I have also cubed 1/2 stick of all unsalted butter, and I cut it in small cubes. Now we will mix this together, and we want to get this to where it's a fine sort of will be a little bit in your hands. Hold it in your hands whenever you try to hold it together. So let's pulse this together. That was 20 pulses. And you can see here about what it looks like. So now we'll put this lid back on. And now I'm going to add 1/4 cup of water. And I will also pulse the water in. If you have, I just pour it all in at once. It has the little holes. It'll drain down automatically as you pulse it. What you want to do here is just have your dough come together. You don't want it to be necessarily in a ball when you're finished, but you would want it to be incorporated. I didn't count the pulses, but it's probably about the same as we did before. So as you can see now, the dough has come together. And we're going to go to the counter now and prepare to roll out the dough. And here's a little trick that I do, and it really seems to work well. I wet the counter just a little bit, and then I use 2 strips of plastic wrap to prepare my rolling it out. The dampening of the counter will keep this in place when you're ready to roll. Now we'll bring this over to the plastic wrap, and as you can see here, the dough has come together fairly well. Now we'll just leave it like that, because what you want to remember here, do not overwork your dough. This is one reason that we have pie crusts that are tough. Well, actually 2 reasons. One is overworking, and 2 is the additional flour that is added when you lay them out just without this wrapping. Excuse me, I have to do one other thing first. What we want to do first is just bring this together like this and just work it a little bit in this plastic wrap until you have formed a nice disc. Now, some people will put this in the refrigerator. I don't usually do that. I don't know, it might be a good idea, but I just don't usually do that. So what you want to do is just add a tiny bit of flour here, just enough so that it won't stick now to your plastic wrap. Now put your top on here, and I have several different pie plates that I use, and I always check the size of those. And this is 7 inches plus 2, so you want to add 1 more inch. So we want to have a 10-inch round when we have completed our pie crust. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about my rolling pin too, because as you can see, it's got a burn place on here. But when my husband and I were first married, which was over, well, it'll be 55 years this summer, there was a lady from his Sunday school class, an elderly lady and her husband, who were going into an assisted living, and they had a little sale. So he and I went to the sale, and I bought this from Mrs. DeLong. She lived in the city of St. Louis, and I looked at a lot of rolling pins through the years thinking, I need to replace my rolling pin with one that looks a little better, but somehow I just haven't had the heart to do that. This is Mrs. DeLong's rolling pin, and I have made so many desserts with her pies with her rolling pin, so I guess I'll just continue to use it. Now, as you can see, I'm just rolling out with each part of the crust a little bit. You want to kind of work in those. The edges are a little bit rough at first, but as you work around, you will see that they'll come together. Now at this point, what you want to do is measure. We're looking for 10 inches. We're about there. So as you can see, the pie crust is a little bit uneven, so what I do is take this off at this point, and then I just take my hand and I start bringing it together so that we have a nice round pie crust. Now first we'll measure. We're looking for 10 inches, and we're there. 10 inches. Now here's where a lot of people have a problem, is getting this pie crust into this pie plate without tearing it up. I can't tell you how many times from this point to this point I've had a disaster. Falling apart, getting it in too far on one side, having to move it, and then it breaks apart. I've had to throw quite a few away, but then I saw this technique on a cooking show, and I have used it since then. So as you can see, your paper is actually holding your pie crust together for you. So you can move it around a little bit now. Actually, I got it off just a bit, but we'll go like this. Here we go. You see how I could do that with the paper on it? If you try to do that without the paper, it will not work as well, I promise. So now we are ready to pull this paper off. You see the pie crust? Now all we need to do is do a little bit of an edging on it. You can do any kind that you like. You can use a fork. You can just flute it with your fingers like this. And some people, my daughter who's sitting here with me, uses pie weights. I don't do that. I'm just, I guess from the having always seen my mother take a little fork and we just prick the bottom of it, go all the way around with the fork, and it keeps it from bubbling up. And then you go around the sides a bit. And you are ready to bake your pie crust. 425 degrees. Check it at 15 minutes. And you may need to leave it in a little bit longer than that. What you want is a nice golden brown crust that you can fill with your favorite filling, lemon, chocolate, coconut cream, your choice. So I hope this has been helpful for you. You can see the pie crust here, what it looks like. And I hope that you'll go out now and try one for yourself. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, this is about 20 minutes cooking time on, baking time on this pie crust, but it is ready for filling, for your favorite filling. I hope you've been inspired now to make your own pie crust. Your families will love it.